in Washington. A member of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's war cabinet is meeting with several Biden administration officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. CBS News Homeland Security and Justice reporter Nicole Sganga joins us now from the White House. Good to see you, Nicole. So before Christmas, the president emphasized the need to protect civilian lives in Gaza, but then stopped short of calling for a ceasefire. What can you now tell us about today's meetings?
Yeah, Evan, good to be with you. Israel's Minister for Strategic Affairs, Ron Dermer, is currently meeting with Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Now, the White House says that these are face-to-face consultations intended to address the ongoing conflict in Gaza and, of course, the return of hostages held by Hamas. Now, more than 100 hostages captured in Israel are still believed to be held in Gaza, including as many as 8 Americans. And of course, fears of a wider regional conflict are growing. This after the White House announced last night, you mentioned it earlier, the president ordered retaliatory U.S. airstrikes targeting Iranian-backed fighters in Iraq. This after a drone attack on an airbase used by U.S. troops near the city of Erbil wounded 3 Americans, one of them critically. Now, of course, the war also has become a key political issue ahead of the election year 2024. A recent CBS News poll saying that more than half of all Americans disapprove of the president's handling of the conflict.
Okay, let's go to another conflict, obviously Ukraine now. The White House has warned Congress that failing to pass more aid for Ukraine by January could be, quote, catastrophic. So walk us through what the administration's efforts to get more money to Ukraine will look like in the new year.
Yeah, well, Congress fell short of that deadline, fell short of a deal that would provide key military aid to Ukraine before the end of the new year. President Biden asked Congress for more than $60 billion in an aid package, and now White House officials forced to redouble their efforts in the new year. The president previously signaled he'd be willing to compromise on the issue of border security in order to really secure the Ukraine funding deal. But those talks, led by a bipartisan group of senators, plateaued after weeks and weeks of negotiations. Now, earlier this month, the Department of Defense warning congressional leaders that it already allocated all of those previous funds that were associated with Ukraine. In fact, now Pentagon officials concerned, they're hesitant to send further weapons and services abroad without knowing that appropriations are in place to backfill U.S. inventories here. All of that has left Washington on edge and, frankly, in limbo until the Senate and House return in session on January 8th and January 9th, respectively.
Okay, let's change gears here from war to trade, because the Biden administration has upheld a ban on some imports of Apple watches. So what's going on here?
Yeah, if you're looking for the latest Apple Watch, you will no longer find it in U.S. stores. Now, back in October, the U.S. International Trade Commission ruled that Apple Incorporated infringed on 2 patents. Those patents relate to new features that use light-based technology to read blood oxygen levels. And we've all been on Apple Watch, so to speak, to see if the White House would intervene in this case to overturn that ruling. Well, the clock struck midnight on Christmas, and they did not intervene. What does that mean? Well, no longer will the latest Apple Watches be available in stores in the United States. But today, the company announcing plans to appeal that decision. Evan?
Okay, lots on the agenda. Nicole Sganga, thanks so much for that.